Thank you everyone for joining us today at this Get on Board, the second business presentation session. My name is Keith Spencer with Metro Strategies. Again, thank you. And I'll just be handling some housekeeping measures, and I'll be turning it over to Herbert Smith following that with Norfolk Southern, who will be introducing Representative Newman. As with all of the other sessions with Get on Board, today's session will be recorded and it will be shared online after the event. On any of the videos that any of the sessions, including this one, if you do miss anything, writing furiously or any of those things, don't be concerned. We will be posting all these videos by May 7th. So by next Friday, they'll all be made available on both the CREATE program and the 75th Street SIP website. In addition to that, we'll be sending out an email with the link to those and a list of all the attendees, including the businesses you're going to hear from today. So that way, when it comes to networking and reaching out and following up, you'll have like all of this, everyone's contact information. We do ask that any attendees please keep their cameras off and remain muted unless they're speaking. And if you do have any questions, we will be accepting questions throughout the entire session. Please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. We will be addressing all questions at the end after we hear from representatives and all of the businesses have an opportunity to discuss what they do. And with that, we'll be getting started shortly. Today's session is expected to last until about 3:30 p.m. And tomorrow will be the last session for Get on Board, the third business presentation session, and there'll be closing remarks from IDOT representatives. With that, I'll turn it over to Herbert Smith with Norfolk Southern Railroad.
Thank you, Keith. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Herbert Smith. I am Regional Vice President of Government Relations with Norfolk Southern Corporation. I want to thank you all for joining us for the second of the 3 business presentation sessions. The goal of these sessions is to provide suppliers and contractors the opportunity to provide an overview of their firms and services to meeting attendees. But before we hear from some of these businesses, the CREATE partners are pleased to have United States Congresswoman Marie Newman joining us today. A freshman member in the 117th Congress, Congresswoman Newman represents Illinois' 3rd Congressional District, which covers the southwest side of Chicago, as well as its surrounding suburbs. A lifelong advocate for growing small businesses, protecting healthcare rights, strengthening our infrastructure, and building a greener economy, Congresswoman Newman is the first woman in history to represent the 3rd Congressional District. In Congress, she currently serves on the House Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, House Committee on Small Business, Congressional Labor Caucus, House Democratic Manufacturing Working Group, Democratic Women's Caucus, and as Vice Chair of Communications for the Congressional Progressive Caucus. Prior to being elected, Congresswoman Newman worked as a marketing executive and partner at one of the nation's largest ad agencies before becoming a small business owner herself after launching a successful consulting company. She graduated from the University of Wisconsin, thanks in part to her grandfather, a union carpenter, who built a double desk for his grandchildren to study on so that they might be among the first in the family to go to college. A reminder of the strength and perseverance of union families and the dignity of hard work, Congresswoman Newman still uses that desk today. She resides in LaGrange with her husband and 2 children. And I will add, on a personal note, it has been a pleasure seeing her tireless work ethic firsthand. Only on the job a matter of months, Congresswoman Newman and her staff have already received a detailed CREATE briefing and toured several CREATE projects. Her national grassroots advocacy background is evident as she has embraced issues that matter most to her constituents and the nation, including unlocking the full potential of a greener, more equitable, and stronger transportation network. Congresswoman Newman, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, and thank you for the kind words. I am excited to be here, but I'm also excited today. This group will understand this more than most, that we have a very specific historical period we're going into that is just filled with opportunity, hope, and promise. And what I think you all know what I mean by that is that Our district is really unique here in Illinois 3, as is Illinois. Illinois is the hub of the transportation system in our great country. And Illinois 3 has more lines of track than any other district in our country. So out of 435, we are #1. So we have a unique place in the rail systems, but we also have a unique place in that I am lucky enough to have this amazing airport in my district called Midway. It is amazing to me the number of very innovative transportation and infrastructure companies that reside in Illinois 3. So knowing all of that and knowing that I got the opportunity to partner with all of those entities, the plan that's coming out shortly from President Biden is nothing short of exciting. Organizations that are networking today on this call have a lot to look forward to. We are going to be funding innovation, infrastructure of all types, workforce training, and bridges, roads, viaducts, everything, rail systems, and the like. So we're going to have a great opportunity to kind of reinvent and update and contemporize this country like nothing before. Also make it healthier and cleaner. And in all doing that, and the good news is we're going to be creating a lot of jobs. And you know what always happens when we have new things to do and new substrates, new materials, new innovations, new technology? Guess what happens? New small businesses are created. It is a historical pattern that we have gone through dozens of times in our short 240-year history. But you know, I don't have to tell you any of this. You're all small business owners, or many of you are. I myself, having been a student of the history of small business, we know this. In my district, small business is 80% of the district's GDP. And transportation represents right around 1/3 of related jobs in the district. So it is critically important to me that we all work together as a team. And I look to all of you as partners. And I hope you'll look to me as that as well. Let's work together to make sure that we leverage all of these opportunities. You know, CREATE has been an amazing partner so far. I think it's one of the most innovative funding programs we've had in the country in the last 100 years. Bringing public and private together back in 2003, 2004 to really address these critical infrastructure and rail issues. It was brilliant, right? And now we have a look at all of you on this call, is that we're all working together on what has been 75 projects at varying degrees of finish. And we're going to continue working together, and we're going to add projects onto that list, and we're going to keep this amazing fund going and this amazing collaboration going of public and private. Because I'll tell you, this is how we get this done in America. Never in our history have we gotten something done very well without having government, public, private, nonprofit, and people all working together. So to say that I'm excited is an underestimate, and we're going to keep on looking at these projects and how we can get them done safer, greener, and faster. And that's really my prioritization there. I also want to let all of you know that this has been a rough year, no matter what industry you were in. But because public transit is down at such a low level, it has affected this group probably more than many industries. I'm going to do everything within my power to get everybody back on public transit. You'll see me talk, I've seen me talk about it a lot, but we're going to keep talking about it. And I'm going to collaborate with my colleagues here in the delegation and across the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. And just to give you a little bit of inside baseball, one of the things that I'm starting to have discussions with the Department of Transportation is to bring Secretary Buttigieg out here to see the amazing opportunity of Illinois 3. We have, I'll give you one example that is the perfect intersection of transportation, housing, and economic development that will create a greener environment. There's an area just south of 55 at Cicero where there would be a housing organization built up to create affordable green housing, but have a green incubator that is based in transportation and renewables, but then also have things like charging stations and extend a metro stop there so that people can get back on the rails. But build that housing in a way where it creates jobs, but it's a greener and healthier environment as well. The reason that's so important to transportation is that in my district, we have a lot of transportation deserts, and it is critically important that we work with organizations that are on this call to fill those. There's the big deserts where we can't get to and from places in the nation, but then there's the micro deserts. There's one that's about 4 miles long right in the center of my district, actually by Midway Airport, which is a funny place to have a desert. But there is one set of transportation, the CTA ends and Metro is far away. And so we have all of these workers that come there and have to walk miles sometimes. So transportation deserts are some of the things that I'm very focused on to make having a job more equitable, and people can get to their jobs more equitably, but have better housing and better transportation. So my goal is to get everybody back on public transportation, and I hope everybody is advocating every day that it's safe, it's fast, and it's healthier, and it's the best way to go to get on public transportation. So I want to thank everybody for their amazing work during the pandemic. I know you've had a very hard year, and my heart goes out to you and your employees and all of your partners, because you've held it together really well. And so I'm going to do everything in my power for that hard work to be rewarded. I just want to say that I think CREATE is a marvelous organization and all the folks that work with it. So let's keep it going, make it stronger, and let's do things greener, faster, better, and safer together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman Newman, for your participation on today's important panel and for your continued advocacy on the House T&I Committee. With that, I would like to now turn it over to our first speaker, Suzanne Carbon with Carbon 360. Suzanne.
Thank you. Thank you, CREATE. Thank you, CREATE and Metro Strategy for this opportunity. Like a lot of folks, I've been attending a lot of online events. I've been impressed with how buttoned up this one has been, as well as the interesting speakers and informative content. Well done, Keith, Jack, and Chrissy. This event has also got me nostalgic about my Uncle Jake. He was a career brakeman for WSX. Regarding safety, he was fond of saying, "It's either life or limb." He'd be pleased to hear safety is still a priority now, as it was then. I've also worked in transportation. Back in the day at Conrail PTL, an intermodal lumber facility near Pittsburgh, as well as in construction, managing the marketing at Leopardo Companies. Today, I'm the president of Carbon 360, a small WBE, WOSB marketing agency. Carbon 360 helps mid-sized companies take their marketing from scattershot to focused, so they send the right message to the right audience. For engineering, that message might be about your commitment to safety and innovation. For rail, it might be your green story. You were green before it was cool. Trains are 4 times more fuel efficient than trucks, something I bet most people outside the industry don't know. Next slide, please. What is scattershot marketing? It's the opposite of engineering design. Some companies don't see marketing as a priority and might not apply their careful planning and rigorous execution to their efforts. This results in scattershot marketing. Symptoms include not having a plan, toe dipping, trying a variety of platforms but not committing to any, ineffective messaging or messaging that's not targeted. Screenshot or scattershot can also lead to market confusion. Potential or current clients might not have a clear idea of who you are or the problems you solve. Instead of rising above the digital noise, you become part of it. This leaves you fighting for attention from contractors, architects, and municipalities. We take you above the noise with a marketing with a marketing blueprint that is thought out and carefully crafted to align with your mission and goals and speaks to those potential customers. Next slide, please. There are no magical processes in marketing, although some will lead you to believe there are. Our approach considers the pros and cons, seeking the optimal outcome, much like engineering or science. The marketing we develop isn't one size fits all. We assess, adjust, and align to deliver effective, creative marketing solutions. We have a deep toolbox of services that we can pull from to customize your marketing and meet your unique needs. Tactics like websites, presentations, advertising, materials for events and conferences, as well as social media to help you get your message to your audience. Our goal is to reflect your best essence in the marketplace consistently across all channels to build or strengthen your brand so you can achieve your mission and your goals. Next slide, please. The element of carbon is one of the basic building blocks of the universe. The creative element of Carbon 360 is the building block for effective marketing. Here is a sampling of clients we've done that for. We have a deep knowledge and experience in B2B across a range of industries, including construction. In all projects, we bring senior level creative and business resources to our clients. As such, our business model of plug and play with its only as needed project resources removes agency overhead bloat and brings fiscal stewardship to our clients, as well as innovative solutions. Next slide, please. I'm Suzanne Carbon, president of Carbon 360. From best practice marketing consulting to full marketing services that combine insightful strategies with creative design, we help ensure your marketing efforts are not simply overhead, but an investment in your company. Contact me if you'd like to dig deeper into your marketing needs or discuss how we can take your marketing from scattershot to focused. Thank you. And now I'll pass the mic to David at Gannet Fleming.
Thank you, Suzanne, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dave Moses, and I am the Midwest Transit and Rail Leader for Gannet Fleming. I'm excited to tell you a little bit about Gannet Fleming today in hopes of making some new teaming connections. My contact information is provided on the slides you'll receive. Please feel free to reach out with any questions. Next slide, please. I'll start with a little history before I provide an overview of Gannet Fleming. You may already know us as Bowman Barrett & Associates. With Lou Bowman and Jack Barrett looking to retire at the young age of 89, Gannet Fleming acquired Bowman Barrett at the start of 2019. This acquisition combined Bowman Barrett's rail structures and track experience in the Chicagoland area with Gannet Fleming's national expertise in transit and rail. As Gannet Fleming, we now have expanded capabilities and resources as a national firm of over 2,500 professionals. Rail and transit is a major component of Gannet Fleming services with over 400 full-time rail professionals and a number 10 ranking for mass transit and rail from Engineering News Record. We are committed to and invested in the Chicago market with over 60 professionals in our downtown Chicago office, including nearly 40 former Bowman Barrett employees. We are focused on providing innovative and sustainable solutions and look for similar ambitions in our partners. Next slide, please. We have past and current experience with CREATE projects. For the P1 Englewood Flyover project, we were a major sub-consultant on both the Phase 1 and Phase 2 contracts, designing many of the approach bridge structures and retaining walls. For the GS7 Belmont Road grade separation, we provided value engineering services to the construction contractor, improving the bridge foundation designs and significantly reducing the construction cost and schedule. We are also currently working for Norfolk Southern, providing Phase 2 design services for noise abatement walls for CREATE project EW3. Final design for the wall segment included in EW3A was completed just this last week, and the 2 wall segments included in EW3B are scheduled for completion early this summer. Next slide, please. We have extensive rail bridge experience throughout the Chicagoland area. For Metro, we designed the bridge superstructure and completed river hydraulic modeling and permitting for the replacement of Milwaukee District West Bridge Z100 in Elgin, on which construction was completed last year. This was a highly constrained project site with an adjacent Union Pacific Bridge, the US 20 highway bridge overhead, high voltage power lines, and a sharp bend in the river. For Illinois Tollway, we provided planning and final design services for all aspects of the replacement of the BNSF bridge over I-294 in Western Springs, currently under construction. Maintenance of rail and highway traffic were critical for this project, with over 140 trains per day on the BNSF and nearly 200,000 vehicles per day on the tollway. A 3-track full-speed shoe fly is provided, essentially building the bridge project twice to avoid any rail or highway traffic shutdowns. For Union Pacific Railroad, we provided design and CM services for 2 recently constructed Chicago area projects. At Ashland Avenue near 15th Street in Chicago, the 8-track bridge was replaced in 3 separate 75-hour partial outage work windows, keeping at least 6 tracks in service at all times. Accelerated bridge construction techniques were used to maximize advanced work and allow for demolition and replacement of 3-track segments in each 75-hour work window. At Proviso Yard in North Lake, 6 bridges carrying 5 tracks over both Lake Street and North Avenue were replaced. A 1-track shoe fly and complex construction staging were used to avoid any service disruptions to these critical tracks supporting Union Pacific's Global 2 hump yard and intermodal operations. Next slide, please. Regarding DBE teaming, we have a long-term commitment to supporting the growth of DBE firms. We've developed a ladder succession model that we use to support the growth of DBE partners, starting with mentor-protege relationships, then advancing to a strategic sub-relationship as qualifications, skills, and trust increase, and ideally culminating in a prime relationship where we might sub to a DBE to support their pursuit in a prime role or pursue projects as a joint venture. We started this model nearly 20 years ago with Primera Engineers on Cook County, Chicago Department of Aviation, and tollway projects until Primera eventually grew enough to graduate from DBE status. This approach has benefited our projects and many DBE partners, and we have expanded its use to other area agencies that we serve. We're always looking for new DBE partners and welcome any interested parties to reach out and start a discussion about how we might be able to collaborate and help each other on create opportunities, as well as IDOT Metro Tollway and other area agencies. I'd like to thank all the attendees for listening to some information about us today, and thank the Create Partners for organizing this forum. And with that, I'll hand it off to Tom at Soteria.
Okay, thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm the owner and manager of Soteria Company, and I'm very pleased to be here with this opportunity to provide an overview of our firm. We are a small business. We were established in 2002, and we provide system safety and security services to the transit industry. We are focused on the design and construction phases of new light rail or transit systems. And our work leads the project to system startup and readiness to carry passengers. So what we do primarily is we prepare safety and security plans, we prepare hazard analyses, we perform threat assessments, and we also develop checklists and help facilitate their verification as required by the Federal Transit Administration for a certification program. As I mentioned, most of our work is for rail transit, but we also do work for automated people mover systems and bus rapid transit, where our skills are also applicable. Next slide. Okay, I just wanted to provide a little overview, a sampling of the agencies we've done work for or are currently doing work for, and also our clients and partners. Most of the time, we do work for large architectural and engineering firms as a subcontractor to support the development, design, and construction of projects. But we also do support transit agencies directly in some cases. For example, you see the Foothill Gold Line there. We work directly for them, for the transit agency on an on-call basis to provide oversight for the project that's being developed. And over to the right, you can see the list of some of our most frequent partners. And as you can see, they are all large A&E firms. Next slide. Here's a sampling of our key projects that are currently in progress. We are providing safety and security support and leading the certification process for the Crenshaw line in Los Angeles. We're also performing a similar function for the Redlands Passenger Rail project. For that project, we are performing as a subcontractor as part of the construction management team. And this is this particular project is an extension of a commuter rail line. We are also involved with the Los Angeles International Airport Automated People Mover project. We are leading the safety and security certification process there. We are also performing a similar function for the new light rail project in Edmonton in Canada. And similarly, also this one in Los Angeles, we are working on the airport and metro connector, which is a joint station that will be served by the automated people mover and the Crenshaw light rail. Finally, for the Gold Line Foothill extension I mentioned earlier, we have an on-call contract there to provide safety and security oversight for the development of the new extension. Next project. Next slide. A few of our completed projects over the past few years. The first one there is the Valley Metro Light Rail System. We perform design services to support certification. The next project there is the Paris Valley Line, which was an extension of the Metrolink commuter rail system, a 20-mile extension in Paris Valley, California. We also supported and led the safety and security certification program for the Exposition Light Rail project in Los Angeles. And finally, we performed a similar function for the Gold Line East Side Extension project in Los Angeles. Next slide. Okay, that concludes my summary of Soteria Company. Please feel free to contact me or Denise if you have any questions or would like to discuss any of our capabilities. Now I'd like to turn it over to Luis at 2IM.
Thank you very much, Tom. Again, thanks for inviting us to participate on this presentation for CREATE. And thank you, Congressman Newman, for those great words at the beginning. I'm Luis Montgomery, president of 2IM Group. My contact information is in the upper right-hand corner, luis.m@2imgroup.com, and that is my cell phone number, so feel free to contact me if you want to know more after this presentation. I know I'll be talking to Dave Moses about becoming a mentor with Gannet Fleming, so Dave, look for my call. 2IM Group is a civil engineering and environmental services firm. We have experience with public sector clients like Metro and CTA and IDOT and Tollway, but also worked with some private sector clients, Union Pacific, Ameren Energy, and American Airlines. So we understand the importance of being in budget and on schedule with both these public and private clients. Next slide. Here's our track experience. The top line is the red-purple bypass as part of the red-purple modernization. And we had that was a mentor-protege partnership with Stantec, the lead engineers, on the project. And we've been able to really develop a good track engineer with that project, and excited to keep on working with CTA and on future projects. We also worked with Union Pacific again as in more of a in unofficial or mentor protege with Benish on Create WA1. We provided some track geometric design for the shoe fly bridges for that project along the west side of Chicago with Benish as a prime. Next slide. We also have extensive signals experience. We're currently working again with the red purple modernization on the signal implementation for the, I am not a signals guy. The only signals I know are smoke signals. So we have a secret weapon, and his name is Vincent Bobade. I have his information on the bottom, and he is currently working on that CTA project using the Hitachi ATP system and the Hitachi communications-based train control systems to have trains communicate and switching and braking control, as noted by the pictures, which is what I can see. But he's also worked with the rail class 1s. He was a GIS engineer with Canadian National when the positive train control rollout was happening within the United States. So he knows the CN world very well. And he's been working for the last 2 years or 18 months on the RPM design build, as I mentioned, and we're ready to have him work on more signals projects for you on various CREATE projects in the future. Next slide. And this is our permitting and stormwater / environmental services that we provide. We're currently working with Trans Systems on with various metro projects. The top two, the Fox Lake Station. So we are doing the drainage design, and we did some of the environmental permitting for soil classification and processed the LPC IEPA LPC 663s after doing analysis of soils for construction activities. We are just starting off the Hickory Creek Bridge rehabilitation for the Rock Island District train. We will be providing the hydraulic model analysis and report, doing some waters and wetland delineations, mostly waters for this case, and then also processing all that data to determine exactly, and based on the scope of rehabilitation, the type and proper permitting with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and Illinois Department of Natural Resources Office of Water Resource Permitting sections. And now we are currently working with Lochner on the Van Buren Street station expansion. That includes a new platform, relocation of several tracks, and adding 2 new tracks, if memory serves. We're doing all the drainage design, which includes permitting with the Chicago Department of Water Management, which is no easy feat, and also providing other permitting requirements for stormwater management during construction activities. Next slide, please. And this is my contact information. It's to wrap it up again, feel free to reach out to me at luis.m@2imgroup.com or on and this is my office number, 312-508-5156. Thank you very much. And now back to Chrissy for questions and comments.
Great, thank you so much, Luis. Just a reminder to folks who are joining in and listening in, if you do have any questions for our panelists, please feel free to enter those into the Q&A chat at the bottom, and we will do our best to answer those. I just want to remind everybody that we had a morning session that had 5 different firms presenting, and then tomorrow morning at 10, we have 5 other additional firms presenting. So if you want to continue to sort of see what else is out there, please come join tomorrow's session. If you did miss this morning's session, on the CREATE program website, createprogram.org, we will be posting these recordings and these slide decks. So you can go back there to learn about other organizations and to get contact information as well. Additionally, we will be sharing a list of all Get On Board attendees so that you're able to see who else is in the room and who you might want to contact for potential networking opportunities in the future. If you do have questions that we don't answer now or questions that come back to you later, you don't think about right now, please feel free to submit them to us through info@createprogram.org. We'll be spending this week and next week going through the emails we receive and compiling them and sharing responses to those emails. Additionally, there's also a Contact Us tab on the bottom of our website, createprogram.org. And then for those folks, I know we went through those slides rather quickly, so feel free to write down this information right now if you'd like to. Additionally, it will be shared on the website as well before the end of next week. So one question that I just have for our panelists is for those who are not currently working on CREATE program as contractors, what interests you in working with the CREATE program? So if anyone wants to unmute and share their feedback, we'd love to hear that. Or maybe you're all actively working on CREATE.
Hello, this is Tom with Soteria. No, we are not actively working on any of the CREATE programs, but we are certainly interested in contributing to any light rail projects, either new or significant modifications, where we can help out with our our safety and security expertise. Also bus rapid transit, automated people movers. So at various levels, either with larger prime contractors or directly for any of the agencies where our ability can be used.
Great. I would love to hear perhaps from David. So since you are currently working on some CREATE program projects, if you can speak to this, how did your firm begin working on CREATE, and sort of, I think, maybe what's been kind of the pull that's kept you working on CREATE projects over the years?
I don't know if I remember exactly what first pulled us in, because we started on the P1 project, which is approaching 20 years ago now.
Yeah, not a recent thing, absolutely.
Yeah, I could speculate that we were strong in rail structures, so I think it was a natural fit for us to get involved in that mega flyover project. As far as the desire to keep working on it, it's it's a very large long-term program. There's a lot of opportunities. As we all know, with all the rail networks crossing in Chicago, there's a lot of issues left to fix. So it's an attractive group of projects to work on.
Awesome, thank you. Perfect. And just as a reminder to folks who are joining today's session, if you did miss earlier sessions this week, Monday morning, we had our opening session, and then we had our railroad opportunity session Monday afternoon. So that's where we talked with the actual railroad representatives to learn more about how to work with the railroads directly. And then yesterday morning, we had our panel that talked about public opportunities. So for folks that want to get involved with procurement through the city, the county, the state, other agencies like that. It looks like we don't have any questions. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this session. Oh, actually, sorry, we do have a question, excuse me. Luis, can you speak any more for us about the benefits of the mentor-protege agreement you have with your prime consultant? It sounds like you're working on that as part of the EW2 for the Norfolk Southern team.
Yes, and we're also, the one that we started in the rail industry was probably with CTA and Stantec on the red purple modernization. Same gauge as the CREATE, but a little bit different size of equipment, I guess. Yeah. It's instrumental. I mean, it really helps DBE firms get in the door. As Dave said, it also helps that trust that you can gain with the primes, Benish and Gannet Fleming and whoever, and really then help that grow into a good partnership and as Dave said, and eventually and hopefully where there could be that reciprocity where we can give help go as a prime and bring a big firm in as a sub. I think that is our ultimate goal, as for many of the small DBE firms, but it's just hard. It's a long process. 20 years that you just mentioned with Dave and Gannet Fleming that they started, and how long did it take them with the Primero, experiment to have that, grow and become, both very substantial and big firms. So yeah, it's very instrumental to be mentor protege. We appreciate it, and we're looking for more opportunities, and we thankful for the opportunities we have got.
Yeah, and so just for our folks right now who are listening in, I just want to reiterate that our Tuesday morning session where we had IDOT as one of our presenters, Pam Simon did a really great job, I think, explaining the mentor protege program and really how to get involved in that. So if you want more information about that, I definitely recommend for folks to go and watch Tuesday morning session with the public agencies.
And is that what you wanted me? Was it about the process? Are you asking?
No, that was perfect. That was absolutely perfect. Thank you, Luis. That was great.
Okay.
Oh, here's the question. Fiscal companies have never worked on so a question that we have is, for companies that have never worked on a freight rail project, what would those who have, so those of us on part of this call who have, what would you recommend they read about, or what are the best networking recommendations for dipping their toes into this kind of work? So I guess for firms that maybe haven't worked in freight before, are there any sort of recommendations that those of us on the panel can share for people that kind of want to know how do you start and where do you kind of first get your feet wet?
Can I state that the biggest thing is you'll need patience.
Yeah.
It's a long process, and as we all know, as small business owners, there's some hustle involved. So you have to keep on knocking doors, and patience and persistence. And in terms of wanting to get involved, or if you have the will. Now, if you're concerned about it, there's definitely some extra requirements in terms of safety plans, and especially if you're working out on site. The contract document, we have an attorney reviewed the contract document, and there's some very it's not typical IDOT tollway type of contract language. It's not detrimental or anything. We signed it and everything, but it's just a little higher on everything, is I guess I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with most of what Luis said. Persistence is definitely the key to kind of getting your feet through the door first. And then if you can get that one chance, you gotta deliver. There are definitely some barriers that can make it a little bit more challenging. Some of the insurance requirements and safety training requirements and other things that are a necessity of working for the rail industry. But it's a rewarding industry.
Can you perhaps speak a little bit more about those kind of rail insurance and safety requirements that are unique to the industry?
In terms of insurance, it's usually a higher CGL level than most consultants would carry, just because of the risks and liabilities involved. If something goes wrong on a railroad project, it can get expensive very quickly. So that's kind of one barrier that's not insurmountable, but it's just something that people need to look into and prepare for. And then in terms of the safety training, most of that is documented. If you go to the railroad's websites, there's eRail Safe, that's a background check type system for doing work on rail property. And then the different railroads have their own safety training courses that there's not a terrible expense involved, but there is some time investment in getting it done and set up.
Yeah. One thing I do want to add, though, just for the firms that are listening in, during the panel we had with the railroads on Monday, they definitely mentioned that, if you're looking to do marketing work or perhaps, other kinds of work that maybe is a little less literally building and designing the rail lines, you don't feel like you need to have that same level of insurance or same level of kind of liability. And so, for firms that are interested, they definitely don't let some of these requirements be barriers to interest. And I think definitely let yourself, pursue this, ask the right questions to the right people. But again, if you're looking to do marketing work, you're not going to be asked to carry the insurance of, someone doing rail work. So just going to keep that in mind. So thank you so much again, David.
Sure.
I think that I'm going to go ahead and close this session right now, because it's really intended just to be a chance for these firms to share their skills with those who are listening in. Again, we have our final business panel section tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. and that will use the same link that has been used for the other sessions this week. If you're somebody who likes to just sort of click the Zoom on your desktop, the code is that 961 number down there. And then, as always, to stay in touch with us, we have our email, our website, and you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much.